Hi, everyone. You're just letting everyone in.
Hello, Nancy. Hi.
Hi, everyone. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter to you all too. Hope you've all had a good, nice, long weekend. Fiona looks like she is sunning herself in some gorgeous spot.
I am actually on my terrace in London. Can you believe it? Blue sky, and it's just glorious. So I thought I can't sit inside today. It's just too nice. So I'm out here. So I'm hoping I can see you all. You're all a bit in the dark, so I might have to escape inside in a bit. But I'm doing a Mike and Liz because they usually sort of sit in some exotic palm tree garden. So I've got a palm tree for you, just so you can see it.
Who knew that London had palm trees?
Well, in my terrace, I have two palm trees. Hang on, there's one on the other side. You can see. Anyway, it's glorious. So I'm right here today. So hee hee.
Well, enjoy it. Enjoy this. Okay. I think we've almost got everyone in. Just to start, or just for myself, I've actually just found out about 20 minutes ago that a friend of mine died this morning. She's has had cancer for the last, we only found out at the end of January that she had cancer, which is incredibly quick. I mean, from January to beginning of April, that's not very long. And she was young, only 52, 53. So yeah, so I'm feeling a little bit shaky. So hopefully, I think, well, if we can just hold her and her family in some prayers today. She's got two young girls who are, I think, 20 and 23, 24. So young.
What is her first name, Kate?
Her name is Shelley.
Kathy.
So, quite a weekend to choose to die. I did think she was very clever in choosing this weekend to go. Thanks.
Why is that clever?
Well, just because, it's such a powerful weekend energetically with Easter, and there's a lot of energy around rebirth. And, death is a rebirth. So we're just passing from one life and into the next. So it's very clever to choose Easter to go.
Symbolic, certainly.
Exactly. Okay, well, so I had a feel into the energies for this week and where we're at the moment. And there's definitely some new cycles that are being activated at the moment, which is great. And that links into this time that we're in, this weekend that we're in, this time of rebirth and new beginnings. And as these new cycles are activated, both on a cosmic level and on an astrological level, there's new energy that is coming in and enabling us to step into a space of new beginnings and possibly a complete rebirth. And as a result of that, the energies of this week and in fact this month are going to feel a lot lighter and a lot fresher than they have for most of this year, actually. So I'm finding that a welcome relief. I have started to feel those energies over the weekend as we've stepped further into April. So that's a good sign. With these energies, there is going to be a feeling of being able to think clearer. So there's going to be more clarity that is emerging, more insight for us. There's going to be less of the fogginess that we may have felt over the last few months. So that is also very, very positive. And with that clarity, we are hopefully going to get some insights into the journey that we're on individually and collectively. But at the same time, we're also going to be getting some clarity on what still needs to be addressed, as well as what we are being called to manifest through us. So, you know, as lovely as the lighter and the fresher energy will be, there is still going to be this need to look and see and to become aware of what it is that we're still needing to work through, what we're still needing to process, what we're still needing to heal, and what we're still needing to release. But it's going to be a lot easier to do that because the energies are going to be far more supportive of that. The one thing that was very, very clear in reading the energies today, there were two aspects that are going to be key for us moving forward into this week and into the rest of the month. The first one is balance, and the second one is grounding. So balance is still essential. And it is something that we're going to have to focus on. It's not going to be easy because the energies are going to be much lighter, much more expanded. We're going to feel more expansive. And as a result of that, we can become unbalanced. So the unbalancing can happen between kind of the physical self and the spiritual self. So we become more, well, I suppose, drawn more to the spiritual stuff and less inclined to be focused on the physical stuff. We need to be focused in both aspects. We can't be just being in one or the other. We need to be in both. We're also, if we are maintaining a state of balance, we are able to harness the energies and to utilize them far more effectively than if we are out of balance. So it is important to remember every day, do something that brings you into a space of balance, whether that is meditation, whether that is exercise, whatever it is for you that brings you into that state of balance. We're also needing the balance because if we're wanting to feel into our way forward, we must be able to have that balance, because if we don't have the balance, we're not going to be able to know which direction we're moving in. So we need to be present, we need to be balanced, we need to be grounded. The lighter energies are also potentially going to make us feel a little floaty and a little ungrounded. So we do need to make sure that we're connecting very much to our physical selves and our physical reality. When we do that as well, we're getting we can get clarity on the action that we must be taking, because this month is going to be quite an action-orientated month. We do need to take action on certain things in our lives, whether that is healing, whether that is actual growth, whether those are actual physical changes that we're needing to make in ourselves and in our lives. We're needing to take action. So it is key that we are grounded in the present moment, because from that place we can determine what is the action that we need to take, what is the path that we need to take, and what are the steps that we need to move forward. And then again, this week it was highlighted quite clearly that we are still being given the opportunity to heal and to release the old. So those areas in ourselves and in our lives are going to be clearly highlighted. The key here is not to get sucked into the drama of it all. So if there is stuff coming up, be very clear that you don't get sucked into the drama of it or the emotions of it. Rather just be objective and observe what needs to shift, what needs to be changed, and what you're still needing to be letting go of. And the other thing around that is when we step into that observer mode and we don't get sucked into any kind of emotional drama, we are able to reflect and contemplate on the action that is needed. So rather than just diving headfirst into an experience, we're able to take a step back, to observe the situation, to observe ourselves, to feel into what is it that I need to be doing that is best, that will be most helpful in helping me to step forward and to move forward. So rather than getting caught up in a whirlwind of stuff, we do need to make sure that we step outside of it and just observe. So I'm not too sure what what is going to be emerging this week, because on the one hand, it all seems very lovely and positive and light and fresh and new. And on the other hand, there is other stuff that feels like it's coming to the surface. So whether that is something on a collective or a global scale that is going to start emerging this week, I'm not sure. But there definitely seems to be something that has the potential to draw us into some kind of emotional drama. So just be aware of that, be cautious of it. It could be something small, it could be something big. I'm not sure. I can't get any insights other than what I'm able to share with you now. The other aspect of it as well is that there's a feeling of needing to discover new ways of being able to manifest what it is that we need to manifest in our lives and in our world. So there are going to be some different ways that we approach manifestation. So we do know, for most of us, we know the old ways of manifesting. It has been through, and this is quite interesting for me, I hadn't seen it like this, but the old ways of manifesting, we were utilizing old energy. We were utilizing what was currently existing in the world and using that energy to manifest what it is that we were wanting to manifest. We're now stepping into a space where we are working with new energy, with energy that has never taken form before. So the old energy was, it formed things, whether those were structures or actual things, it formed them. And that was the energy that we utilized in order to create. So if you imagine if we're thinking of levels or structures, everything that we used to manifest was working on this level, this physical level, this physical reality. The energy that we are drawing in now, which is coming in through us, through the crown, and then we manifest through our hearts, is pure, clear energy. It is not something that we are drawing from this level or from this realm. As a result of it, it's going to feel a little strange when you try and manifest something, because it's not going to have a form like something that existed in the past. So it can be a little bit disconcerting and maybe a little bit disorientating, but I'm quite excited about this new energy. And I think I've shared with you before, I may have shared it on a previous webinar. In 2000, and I'm not going to lie, I think it might have been 2003, I wrote an article about manifesting in the new earth. Now, 2003 feels like a forever ago. And I wrote this article and completely forgot about it. And I was looking for something that I'd written, and I couldn't find a copy of it in my files. So I Googled my name and articles that I had written so that I could find it on the internet. I did find it, but I also found this other article that I'd written in 2003. And it was all about how easy manifestation is in the new earth reality. And I couldn't believe that I had completely forgotten about it. I totally forgot how easy this was and the very clear and simple picture that I was shown. So what I was told at the time, and I think it's incredibly relevant to where we are right now, is that in order to manifest in the new earth, it is as simple and as easy as picking fruit off a tree. So that was what I was told. They showed me a figure of 8. So for me, it kind of looked like those timers, egg timers, with the sand that drops through. So that kind of shape. So it was 3D, it was a bubble shape. And I was told that you imagine yourself in the bottom part of the figure of 8. And the top part of the figure of 8 is open to the abundance of the universe. And it is as simple as imagining that you're sticking your hand through the curvy part of the figure of 8 into that other section, and you just pull whatever it is that you need through. So when I discovered this about 15 years later, or remembered it 15 years later, I thought at the time, okay, so what can I try and manifest that is easy, quick, and it'll be obvious to me. So I thought I'd play with it a little bit. And I thought, well, money, money is easy. And with money, you can get everything that you need. So, let's just manifest money. So I started imagining that I was sticking my hand through into that space, and I was just pulling through wads of cash. And imagine this whole little bubble around me just filling up with wads of cash. Didn't matter what currency it was. I didn't care. I was just pulling in money, paper money, just pulling it in until this whole container was filled with it. And I can tell you right now, I managed to pay off a huge amount of debt in a very short space of time. So it does actually work. A friend of mine said she needed to manifest a car. So I said, well, you can always try and pull a car through there. I mean, I think the money's easier because then I could just go and buy the car, but off you go. And she manifested a car. A car was given to her. She didn't actually have to buy it. It was given to her. Her car had broken down and she couldn't afford to fix it. And someone actually gave her a car. So this simple, easy way of manifestation actually works. Obviously, I'm joking around with the money. It was an experiment, and when there are times when my bank balance seems to be getting a bit low, I just start pulling in that money. Then we're fine again. So Lynn's just mentioned I'm going to manifest the house I visited this afternoon. Hope it fits. It'll just be given to you, Lynn.
Kate, I need to know, is there any particular wording we should use? Because I can see us all tonight trying to reach through this sort of imaginary skinny part, trying to pull something through. So what do we say as we do it? This is exciting. No. I quite like the idea.
There's actually no words that you need to say other than thank you. So when it actually starts to happen, I was just thank you. Just being grateful is enough, and just picking that fruit, picking that money tree. So there isn't a money tree. There's one. I found it. So
if you can have palm trees in London, you can have money trees.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can find a money tree. Yeah. So this is the kind of energy that we're moving into, because it is lighter. Our lives and the way we live our life is supposed to be getting easier and simpler, not more complicated. So the ways of manifesting, we've learned through. There've been so many books and people speaking about manifestation and how to do it, but actually it's far simpler than what we've been told before. And this is the way that I was shown, and I've been practicing it, and it works. So this is what we can do. I'm still trying to figure out how to lose weight using this manifestation. I haven't figured that one out.
Push it back up. Shove it back up.
Yeah. Please let me know when you figure that one out. The pandemic has not been kind on that front with me.
You've got to stop pulling through ice cream. That's the secret.
Chocolate. Well, Easter doesn't help.
Push the chocolate back up. Chocolate.
Yeah, chocolate, hot cross buns. Easter's a bad time.
Okay, Kate, I want to throw a spanner in the works here with this manifestation. So you really want whatever it is. If it's not meant to be, let's say, for instance, Lynn's house, it's not supposed to be on her journey, or it's not something that is going to serve her in any way. You can sit there and try and squeeze that house through as much as you like. How does that affect the manifestation through the figure of 8 or through the hourglass?
Thanks, Megan. That's a good point. I think that if something is not part of our soul purpose or part of our soul journey, or something that will benefit us, then, you know, we can do as much as we like. It's not going to happen. But if it is something, you know, we're moving into a time where the flow of manifestation is becoming so much easier. And as a result of that, the things that are meant for us should quite simply just appear. And if they are not, it's going to feel like we are hitting a brick wall, or that we're trying to open a door that's locked. And if that is happening, it is time. Just move on to the next thing. Just let that go and move on to the next, rather than trying to pull something through the channel that isn't relevant.
My door didn't just open, it blew off on Monday. My storm door. There was so much wind. I went out to grab my barrel that was flying up the street, and I opened the door and it went and pulled, literally, I mean, the nails pulled out of. Wow. The door didn't break, but whatever. But I was thinking that if Lynn's house didn't come through, it would be because there was a better house. Yes. And a more that she doesn't know about yet. And that will come through.
Yeah, exactly.
Nancy, I think your door blew off because it's about time you got out some more.
Oh, Nancy, you've become too comfortable in your kitchen.
Oh, you know what? I think that's actually true. Friends of mine want me to go on a trip with them at the end of the month. And I'm like, yeah. No.
But it's even Nancy today, me getting out in the sunshine, you know, rather than being inside. Just even I've come as far as my terrace, you know, that's quite a good start. But it's making the most of it, isn't it? Have you got a bit of a garden? Have you got somewhere you can sit outside?
Yeah, I have a back deck. That's the one, remember the tree fell on?
With blowing off doors and wild trees, it's probably safer to stay inside, isn't it?
That's kind of my thoughts. But we did actually, it was only in the 40s Fahrenheit. I don't know how to translate that. But we did, the sun was out yesterday, and friends of mine, a couple friends of mine and I went and had lunch outside. And I'm sure they all thought we were nuts. But it was nice just being out in the sun. I agree. So I did buy a lounge chair for the front and the back. So I'm, you know, we're almost there in Boston. Not quite.
Well, it's just getting your vitamin D, isn't it, that makes you feel better. So
exactly. I could have chased my door down the street, but.
Kate, can I ask you something about the old patterns, going back to the old patterns that you've talked about? Because you wrote about it this week too. And this week it was bizarre, because this week before you wrote it, before you posted that, I woke up one morning feeling it was like all the stuff that I thought that I'd worked on so well and got rid of, and, you know, anxieties and a sense of feeling oppression and reactions to people that I haven't had in a very long time, and obsessions, the sort of, even this tendency I used to have of getting obsessed, which I haven't had for a very, very long time, has just gripped me this week. And then I read what you posted, and so that sort of made me feel better, because it made me feel that, okay, then it's not, my whole being is not collapsing or imploding. But incredibly, incredibly strong. So when you talk now about that, you know, we're going into the new energies and the, you know, I'm hoping, I mean, it feels a little bit like either I'm sort of drowning in quicksand, or it's going through the birth canal. It's a bit like, it's almost as if all that stuff, all that pain and discomfort and these old patterns, you know, old reactions, and I'm inciting old reactions from other people because of the way I'm being. Do you see what I mean? So it was just very, very strong this week. It took me rather by surprise, which made me feel better, as I say, from what you wrote. But I'm wondering if that is something you would expect this week.
Yes. Well, I'm not sure it's going to be as intense as it was last week. I mean, definitely all of our, it felt like all of that old stuff that we have worked through and cleared and released just came flooding back in. But it's you know, the phrase that keeps coming to me is, it's always darkest before the dawn. So, you know, it's almost like before we can move into that space of light, there is this moment where everything seems to get really, really dark. But we are moving through that and through the other side. And the key is to just observe it as something that is moving past, rather than something that is now part of you. It is not part of you any longer. It's something that you've worked really, really hard to get rid of. And it's something that you've worked hard to transform and to release and to let go of. So it's, if you can imagine, it's a bit like, these are the nets that we have been caught in for most of our lives. Mm-hmm. And we're lifting out of these nets. And as we lift out, they can kind of get a bit caught on our feet. And it's just shake them off.
That's a good visualization. Okay.
Yeah. Just
and I guess what you say about not engaging, not being tricked into engaging.
Yes, exactly.
Just notice.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. Okay. Thank you.
And I think also, you know, one of the things I have found so helpful for myself is, rather than getting angry or frustrated when I see these things emerging, I rather view them from the perspective of, I suppose, gratitude, because they have in some way served us. Many of the things that we have experienced in our lives, the patterns, the programmings, the conditionings, all of that has served us in some way, because it's helped us to survive sometimes just that, survive our lives and to survive this world. And could you imagine being born into this world in, you know, the years that we've been around, right back when we were born, not now, but then, being born into that world as this pure, untouched soul? How on earth would you have survived your families, your circumstances, the world, without having to pull in different things in order to give you the strength, or to give you the
coping mechanisms?
Yeah, to be able to just survive and to be able to navigate your life through this world without being completely decimated. So it's a case of, as we're lifted out of these nets, out of these patterns, is just to look at them and say, well, thank you, but your service is now no longer required.
That's brilliant. That's a brilliant way to do it, actually. Okay. Good visualization when mind sees oneself getting sucked in. Visualize the net and float above it.
Yeah. Can I just add? Can you hear me? Yeah. It's been a really weird week though, Kate, when you talk about releasing things. That I years ago had a sort of boyfriend when I was 18, and in fact, somebody who sort of chucked me, broke my heart, and all that kind of thing. And I always felt that, you know, I was inadequate, I was ungroovy enough, the whole thing was just a disaster, and he was the coolest thing, and you know, it was a disaster. And it's quite funny how in the last week, in fact, I had dinner with him last night, we've reconnected. And just from our conversations last night, there's such a darkness about him, and there's such a victimness and a sort of almost a happiness being in the state that he's in. But what was quite interesting for me was that it just healed an old wound from all that time ago. It sounds ridiculous, of just seeing him as he was, that at the time, and who I was at that time, I was attracted to, either because it was the darkness and it was something that, I don't know, I related to or something. But it was just very, very curious that of all the weeks, I just walked away last night thinking, do you know, that's 40 years ago, and suddenly I'm over it. I mean, it was just bizarre, of all the timings of all the weeks, to sort of to see him, you know, still great friends, but just sitting there thinking, God, you are such a tortured soul. What was I thinking? I don't know whether that means I've grown up or he just hasn't changed, but it was just curious. We say this week for things coming up that it's just been an ongoing story, and I just put it to bed. I was quite curious.
Brilliant. I think, I think that there's going to be a lot more of that kind of thing moving forward. I think there's a lot of, I always see them as circles, that have been left open, and they just need to be closed. And as they close, we can just move on, let them go. We don't need them anymore. And I think as a result of that, there's, if there is a wounding somewhere in us, that wounding is healed, which is the point, really.
But it's also just from a perspective of how you view someone at a certain time in your life, and you idolize somebody thinking, God, they are just, incredible. And then you just realize that so much of it is so messed up. Anyway, yeah, as you're right, it's the one thing I needed to put to bed, and I had, so great.
Yeah, exactly.
Fiona, can I just tell you that that's very bizarre, because exactly the same thing happened to me this week. I was walking down into Hampstead and I suddenly thought, I have to call him. And I called this boyfriend from 36 years ago, who has just been lodged in my subconscious all the way along. And he's the only person I ever dream about, which is very upsetting. And I've always thought, why? Anyway, so I rang him up, and I'd never asked him, why is it that from your point of view, why did we split up? And this had been just like my torturing me. And so out of nowhere, I decided I was going to make this phone call. It was the most extraordinary. And I thought, this is weird. This is something, healing the old wounds, which was just like this sort of like a splinter in my foot for the last 36 years.
And did you actually get an answer? Because that was exactly the same question that I was asking this guy.
No, I did.
It was so not what I thought it was.
Exactly. I got
ridiculous.
Exactly. I never expected it, and it quite threw me. So then I have to deal with that. But anyway, that's next week. That's the new energies. I'll deal with that next week.
How funny, anyway. Oh, it's brilliant.
Well done for following your intuition and making that phone call, because that's also key.
Kate, I just wanted to mention, I don't know why this popped into my head, but when you were talking about pulling things through, it reminded me of, the Khoisan belief in that sort of magic sack. I don't know if you guys have read about this, but it comes up a lot in cave art. This belief that there was like these magic pouches, right, of energy, and that, in groups like this or in gatherings, that you could access these spaces and places, and you could quite literally pull through what you wanted. And in most cases, it was related to the burlap of the earland, which they saw as like this magical. That was, for them, was the manifestation or a representation of this. But often it was, to pull rain through and to pull, obviously things that mattered to them at the time. But I just really got struck by this image of that exact same thing of the sack, and again, it was this idea of top down, right, that it existed above us, and we had to reach up and pull it down into this realm. And then also that 8 figure just reminded me of the same symbol for infinity, right? That same sort of 8 figure that also is, I guess, 3-dimensional, because that's what infinity would be. So I also had this great image of it, like almost us pulling from like the future or the past or wherever, but these magical energies that maybe have not been accessed for a long time, this idea of infinity and the boundlessness of, and sort of wrapping our heads around that. So I just wanted to share that because it popped into my head.
Oh, that's brilliant, Matt. I didn't actually know that about the Bushman. I must actually have a look at that.
Yeah, I was lucky enough in my first year at varsity. I wanted to be an anthropologist for a moment, and an archaeologist, and I was at Wits, and they have that cave art department run by David. I forget his surname now, but he's like the guy on Khoisan cave art. So we were introduced to all of this fascinating belief systems around the dances and what trance was used for, and the sack just kept popping up. They didn't know what it was, right? It's always drawn as this little thing with all these things coming out of it, and they were like, what is this? And it took them ages to actually realize that this was sort of a manifestation of the spirit world and the divine, and being able to bring that into this world. Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. Thanks for that. I love that. Magic sack. Well, now we know how to access the magic sack. Just pulling it in.
And it's funny, Santa Claus, that same idea goes with the Santa Claus. I mean, I was going to say legend, but we all know he's real. So, I mean,
Yeah, exactly. I've clearly not been good because I think I've not got anything from Santa for a while. He obviously got lost somewhere near you, Nancy.
Kate, you got the stuff out of the sack from Santa. It's the same thing.
True.
It's the sack that matters, not Santa in the end.
True.
I was thinking about what you said, I think it was today, about the drama. I don't know about anybody else, but I have no patience for the drama. I even stopped watching the news most of the time, which for a long time I was sort of glued to it. Now I try to watch even like the regular world news, and I just go, oh no. I have to put it on my DVR so I can fast forward through most of it. I don't know if anybody else is feeling the same. It's just, I feel like enough with the drama, enough with the division, enough with the horror stories, because that's what keeps the news going. And so anyway, that's what I've been feeling a lot.
I think I've gone to the
Lucky you're not
extreme,
in
Nance.
South Africa, Nance. Lucky you're not in South Africa. We've got infighting in the political parties, and we've got this one doing that and this one doing that. And quite often at the water cooler at work, you don't have anything to talk about because everybody's going on and about this. And that's when you walk away from the water cooler, because you have nothing to put in there. And it's just something that goes round and round and round and round. So it's pointless staying with it. So yeah, I agree with you. Switch it off, and if you have to watch it, fast forward with the DVR.
I think I've gone the opposite way though. I've gone so far away from it. People are telling me things that are happening in the world, and I'm going, really? And that you can get so far back from it, you just end up in your own little bubble. So I think I've got to try and find a balance of maybe listening to the headlines and that's it and leave it. But all the drama, anybody who gets involved with that, I just sit there and I just change the subject. Can't be bothered. I actually saw my sister today, one who I don't get on with so well. And I was so brilliant. I smiled, talked to her, anything else. And I could just sense she was trying to bring me into some drama, putting little jibey what's-its. I was like, so whatever. I mean, you would have been proud of me, Kate. I just let the whole thing just roll over me and just not get, and then just walked away smiling and just realized how, so over it. Didn't want to get involved.
Fiona, what can also be very entertaining is when you ask them, like, really, I know nothing about what you're talking about. Can you explain it to me? And they actually
feel very clever.
They can't explain what they're actually trying to tell you, what the drama is that they're trying to share with you. It's just headline, headline, headline. And you say, well, what is that? What is behind that? And they can't. It's very entertaining to watch them stumble around trying to explain it to you as if you from
I think I've just been kind of falling into the blonde moment of just, going with it. And anyone who knows me probably knows that hopefully I do engage sometimes, but right now it's just not worth it. Just not worth it. But Nancy, I'm really impressed you've stopped watching the news like that. When we started this, you were obsessed. I mean, and sounds cheeky, but you were absolutely gripped to everything, and it was so depressing and really getting you down. So that's big progress.
Yeah. I mean, and the news, I mean, I suppose it went down in November the way I wanted it to, but the news didn't really get that much better. And by the way, I'm just tired of every newscast watching people get stuck in the arm with needles. I get it. You're giving shots. Every newscast, they find a way to stick a needle in you they can be talking about an Easter plant and you still get a needle in you. So I just said, no, I agree. I had gotten very caught up with it and the division and all it does is breed fear. And while I'm able to disconnect from that most of the time, now, like I said, I just watch it and go, this is a never ending.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I must say I've found the same this week of just I don't have TV, so I listen to the news and the radio when I get into my car, and this week I've just found myself turning it off, and I'd rather have silence, because it just it just seems to be the same old stuff that they're just regurgitating, and it's just creating fear and uncertainty, and I can't listen anymore. Lorraine's just written, time to say no to fear. I agree.
Well, it's hard to fill a 24-hour news cycle if you do without fear, right? I mean, there's just so long people watch good news. I don't know why, but and so I do think that, and I'm not in denial that it's crazy out there, because by the way, it's crazy out there. But like I said, to fill a 24-hour news cycle, I don't know.
Especially during a pandemic where no one's really supposed to be doing anything.
Well, in my parents' living room, it was all Trump bashing because my mother loves CNN. But since Trump's gone away, she's literally got nothing to talk about anymore because there's no Trump bashing going on.
But it is extraordinary how different friends, even not even knowing if they watch the news or not, just from the way they behave and how angry they are and how caught up they are with the story of have you heard and this something else, you just know they are somebody who is sitting listening to this 24-hour cycle and being fed by it because they're so angry and they're so I mean, they're just repeating somebody else's story. That's the tragedy of it. But they just do it with as if it's their own. And they're so it's so ingrained in them. And I just I'm fed up with angry people, I think.
I think there is a lot of that at the moment. I mean, I had an incident in the grocery store this morning where some woman was shouting at me. I kind of thought, what is going on? I had to just walk away from it and I just not engage. And I got in my car and I actually just thought, that poor woman. There's so many people that are so caught up in fear and anger and frustration and they're just lashing out. And I think, again, taking it back to what I said earlier about not getting sucked into the drama of things. I mean, it really, really is important that we kind of step away from it rather than getting hooked into it, because it can actually bring you down. And at a time where we're supposed to be feeling lifted up and holding the light, which was something that we've spoken about quite a lot. This is the time where we need to hold that space of light and not get sucked into the darkness of fear.
One of the things that you...
Hi, Jennifer.
Oh, hi. One of the things that you said a while ago, Kate, has really saved me, and that is that you mentioned listening to some books on tape.
Yes.
And that, I think that especially during the pandemic, people are missing having different human voices in their heads and, different human stories and interactions. I mean, this is probably the reason the woman was so nasty in the grocery store to you, is that she needed some kind of interaction, and the only way she knew to get it, right, was to be angry. But listening to books on tape, and also I've done a deep dive into podcasts, and, I can curate my content in this way. And it, I was so thankful for that. It's not something that I've done a tremendous amount of before, and it's just saving me, truly.
Yeah, thanks for that reminder, because I think that there's an incredible amount of information out there and the reason I started listening to audios is that I find it difficult to sit still. So it's something that I can listen to while I'm cleaning the house or while I'm doing other boring admin things, but I still feel like I'm being stimulated. Yeah, and they've been a real lifesaver. And I mean, there's some amazing podcasts out there, some incredible conversations that people have and interviews, and yeah, so it's worth diving into that stuff rather than turning on the television to watch the news.
It would be great to have everybody kind of compile a list of the things, because I'm sure that I would learn a lot about a lot of new ones.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe if anyone who's got some good ones, just drop me an email with them and I'll compile a list and I can send it out.
I think that's the problem. I did try, and I'm not particularly tech savvy, but I have worked out how to download a podcast thing on my phone and try and find some. But unless you put the right keywords in, you can get a whole load of rubbish. And I think I just end up listening to a little bit of it, and then I get so fed up. I think, oh, well, this is a really good idea, but there's nothing that I almost think, not that I know it all, but they're not telling me anything I don't know. So you don't get stimulated, and then I just turn off from the whole idea. So, you know, if there are ones out there that definitely are interesting and we're all quite like-minded, then I'd love to hear how to find them.
Sounds True have so many. If you just go on to the Sounds True website, they have podcasts all the time, and they're fabulous, because I also live with earphones in my ears. This last year has just opened my world to so many new things. It's magical.
What's it called? Sound True?
Sounds True.
Sounds True.
Yeah.
Yes, and the Shift Network also.
Okay.
Yes, thanks, Kate. Yeah, I can't find where to type on this little thing.
Okay, I'll do it for you.
Thank you. We're also IT challenged.
And Sounds True also has a few. They also have courses, and they have books and podcasts. There's a range of things. If you just go onto the website, it's a good one. I've done a few things on there. Thanks, Liz.
I'm quite good at
I had an interesting. Sorry.
No, carry on, Karen.
Kate, I just wanted to toss in here. I watched a series called History of the Future, and they had the various elements, and one of them was democracy, and they said how democracy dies, and the end of that is a phrase that I actually wrote down. I wanted to keep it. It's, we must stop looking for a shepherd. No, it's not about looking for a shepherd. It's about stop being sheep. And I thought that was just so amazing. Yeah. You know, you vote for a shepherd. Why? Because you're a sheep. Stop being the sheep. So I thought that was awesome.
I like that one. I've actually might be a good place to go and find some good books. There's probably going to be a link to it, but I was asked to write up a thing for an interview that I'm going to be doing on. I was asked, what are the 10 most influential books that I've read in my life that influenced my journey, and it was quite something trying to think of 10. Initially I was like, oh, that'll be easy, and then I couldn't think of one, but it was an interesting exercise, kind of cataloging 10 books that were quite instrumental in my healing journey and my own growth and my personal development. I'm trying to, I'll send it out. I'm actually going to see if I can get it for you now, because it really was very interesting. Here it is. And what she's done is she's actually interviewed quite a few different people, and and so they've all put 10 books. There we go. There's a link to it. Quite a long link. So they're all these different people, and all of them have given 10 books. I mean, some of them I'm sure are the same as what I've given, but if you're looking for some titles or for some interesting reads, that you might find some there. I did one of my 10 was Caroline Mace's Essential Guide for Healers, which is actually an audio book, not a written book, but I said it was a very, very important book to read. Certainly for me it was. I don't know if anyone else has had a listen to that, but if not, get on it. It's really good.
The community app that you created or whatever, that would be a good place to be able to share this kind of thing if more people jump onto it. It's, be a great way to say in between, or if somebody's really struggling on a Wednesday or whatever.
Yes. Thank you.
So maybe send the link back out and see if we can get a few more people.
I definitely will do that. For anyone that's interested, it's Matt actually told me about it. It's an app called Mighty Networks. So I've created a network on there. It's Spirit Pathways. So if you want to go on there, and it's an incredible space where you can have conversations with the group of people that belong to your network. So I have sent it out, but I'll resend it. So if anyone's interested, you can join on there, and then we can chat during the week, and you can all chat with each other. There are a few people that have signed on to it, and it's free, so it's not going to cost anything.
Yeah, and it's fun because a few people, Kate sent out a question, and a few of us, gave us a chance during the week to kind of, this is how my week's going. And I sent something, or Megan sent something out, and I responded, and I don't know, it's kind of fun. So.
Yeah, thanks for that reminder, Nancy. I've forgotten to mention it. Thanks. Pam's found a correct link to the 10 best spiritual books. I wasn't intending for you all to look at mine. I was just thinking for all the other people that are on there who've submitted 10 books. I think you'll find some interesting reads there if you haven't read them already. I think mine are pretty old books that I found impactful. Okay. Anyone else have any questions or anything else they'd like to share before we get into some meditating?
Well, if anyone sees my door flying around, let me know.
I just want to know how Pam's eyes are.
No, that's Pat. Pat isn't with us. I think her eyes are good. I did get a message to say that the ops had gone well. Pat had an operation on both eyes, not thankfully at the same time, one after the other. Pam's too busy laughing at Nancy's door to be able to speak.
Nancy, this week I was thinking of you because my back went this week. I don't know. I tried to lift a table about 2 weeks ago, and I had a small niggle and thought, no, it's fine. And then the last 3 or 4 days, it's beginning to get a bit painful. So I thought, okay, I'll do a stretch, a very gentle stretch to think that would be fine. And then I had a hot bath, and then couldn't stand up. So the theory is, or the moral of the story is, the exercise is dangerous, apart from anything else. But I obviously just, by having the hot bath, expanded, tweaked it, and I am now walking, and every 4th step, it's just like your leg gives way, and I'm just hoping, but I think it's just, you have to wait, don't you? You just have to, this is only top tips, Kate, of how, apart from an ice pack and lying down. It's just, it's frustrating because, as you say, this week is going to be a week of action, and I feel I want to get going on a few things. My head's a bit straighter for this week. It's been floating around for two, but with a bad back, it just adds an extra level of
unnecessary pain. There is actually something, there is an exercise that I was shown. You lie on your back and you bring your knees up, but your feet off the floor, and but you don't pull your knees into your chest. You just have them so that your knees are kind of over your hips, so they're not pulled in, and just hold your knees, and you hold it still at that space for 2 minutes. And what it actually does is it brings air into, and oxygen into the lower back, and it creates an opening in the vertebra so that the oxygen can then begin to move into that space. It's quite a good one. It's really, really simple, but you've got to be dead still for 2 minutes. You can't move, otherwise you've got to start again. But try that one.
And those of us who are Reiki healers, Kathy sent me Reiki that was so helpful, and she's on with us today. We'll send you some Reiki too, that it will help.
Cool.
So I guess I just offered for Kathy, but
she's giving a thumbs up, so that's good. Thanks, Kathy. Our resident Reiki healer. Okay. Just seeing if there are any more in the chat. Okay. All right. Well, let's see if we can move into a nice space to do some meditating. Bring us into a centering space. So when you're ready, just allow yourself to settle into a comfortable space. And just allow yourself to close your eyes and just move your awareness down to your breath. Allow yourself to settle into this space. Allow your body to calm, to relax. And allow yourself to let go of any thoughts, any worries, any concerns. And allow your mind to still. Drop your awareness down to the base of your spine, to that base area, that base chakra, the root. And allow yourself to just breathe into that space. By dropping your awareness into that root, you draw energy into that space. Really feel yourself settling into your physical body. And if you're feeling any physical discomfort or pain, just allow yourself to breathe into that space and into that pain. Helping the discomfort to dissipate. And allowing you to sit comfortably in your physical form. And now in your mind's eye, visualize or imagine yourself sitting on the top of a mountain. It is that moment before dawn. Where it is still and quiet. That moment before the light begins to shine on the horizon. And you allow yourself to just be in this space of stillness, space of quiet. Sitting comfortably in the dark, waiting for the light to return. You become aware of the rocks beneath you. And you can feel and sense nature all around you. You feel the connection that you have to the earth. And you give thanks for this connection. And as you look out towards the horizon, you can see a spark of light as the sun begins to rise. As the light touches the mountain, nature comes alive. And you watch as the sun rises, bringing light to everything that it touches. And you breathe in this light. And you feel your heart opening and expanding, connecting with the light of the sun. You feel the warmth of the sun as it touches your face. And you become aware of the beauty of nature as it surrounds you. You feel your connection to nature. And you allow the light to move into the spaces and into the areas within you that are in need of rejuvenation, healing. Spaces in the areas within you that need to be re-energized. Feel the light moving into the spaces where fear is still being held. And you breathe in this light. Feel it filling your body and being. Recharging your energy. Expanding the light that you hold within you. And you feel yourself moving into a space of stillness, space of calmness, serenity, space of peace. You feel your mind being cleared. And your heart purified. Feel the light moving into the cells of your body. Feel the light moving into the bones and the muscles of your body. Feel it moving into your blood and into each and every organ in your body. You feel yourself becoming the light. Now allowing the light to settle in you, within you, and feel it settling all around you. Gently draw your awareness back into this time and into this space. Feel yourself settling back into your physical form, connecting with your base, your root. Take a few deep breaths. Settle into this moment. You're ready, you can Move your fingers and your toes and open your eyes. Thank you, everyone. That was great. I did not want to come back from that space. All right. So for those of you who are sitting in the sun, enjoy it. It looks so lovely.
It's not meant to be quite so lovely tomorrow.
Well, we've had very English weather here today. I was driving down the street thinking this is very English.
We have sun and warmer, a little warmer temperature today, so.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, you're heading into your spring, summer. We're heading into autumn, winter.
Just for you, Fiona, years ago I saw a quote, but it was referencing Scotland. It said summer in Scotland this year was a Wednesday.
Shaking here. Any good day we get, we make the most of it. Doesn't matter if you're wrapped up in 600 blankets. It's a Sunday. You just go and try and enjoy every single second. But I did manage to I was on the terrace in my bikini 2 days ago, which was unheard of, just shocking. So yeah, got a bit of a tan, getting ready for Antigua.
That's amazing. I don't think I've ever been to England in summer.
Well, you're very welcome to my terrace on the one Wednesday when we have summer, the next summer or whatever it's going to be.
Won't she be surprised when we all show up?
Well, you can come and see the first palm tree in London, Nancy. There you go.
It is literally on the top of my list of places that I want to go. So
can we all meet on your terrace in our bikinis?
Yeah, well, I'll leave my bikini. I wouldn't subject anybody to that. But
I might need a few months' notice, so I can just try and do a bit of exercise first. But yes, you're more than welcome. But Kate, I just want to say thank you for doing today, especially having had the news you had. I mean, you are stoic beyond belief, and I'm sure after this is all over, you'll be able to sit quietly. But thank you, very much appreciated. You put all of us first before yourself, so well done.
Thank you. I
imagine your friend Shelley surrounded by angels, and so I felt like she was in a really good place.
Yeah. I you know, she was a special person, and very, very, very spiritual, and so, you know, there is that feeling of ease with her death. They definitely didn't feel like there was any resistance. It's just, you know, sad that she won't be a part of this world, and very sad for her girls that they've lost her at such a young age. But thank you, everyone. I get so much from these sessions too, so it doesn't feel like I'm doing something. I don't feel stoic, Fiona. I just feel
well,
like
I have to say, I think you did incredibly well to hang in there and do it. So well done.
Thank you, everyone. It was so lovely to see you all, and have a brilliant week, and enjoy the lightness. And if you can, find us on that Mighty Networks, and we can
yeah, it's really easy, even for the less technical. It was really just click on the link and sign in and go from there. So we'll see you all on the link.
Brilliant. Thanks, Nancy, for that reminder. I had forgotten to say something, so hope to see you all there.
Happy Easter, everybody.
Happy Easter. Don't eat too many chocolates. You know, we can't put the weight back.
That's exactly what I'm about to go and do, is to tuck into a huge Easter egg. Fantastic.
Enjoy it.
All right, lots of love to everybody. Bye.
Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
Kate. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. See you all next week. Cheers.